Saruman the White, the head of the Istari, leader of the White Council, the wisest of the wizards. At least that's how he was introduced to us, but when Gandalf confronts him in the Fellowship of the Ring, something has changed. Saruman no longer calls himself the White. Instead, he now reveals himself as Saruman of Many Colours, a name as ominous as it is confusing. What does this transformation actually mean, and why does Tolkien make such a big deal out of it? Let's look at this today.
Build me an army worthy of Mordor.
For you have come, and that was all the purpose of my message. And here you will stay, Gandalf the Grey, and rest from journeys. For I am Saruman the Wise, Saruman Ringmaker, Saruman of Many Colours. I looked then and saw that his robes, which had seemed white, were not so, but were woven of all colours, and if he moved they shimmered and changed hue so that the eye was bewildered. I liked white better, I said.
Before we can understand why Saruman abandoned white, we have to understand why it mattered in the first place. In Tolkien's world, white is a symbol of purity, wisdom, and uncorrupted power. From the earliest days in the Silmarillion, light and whiteness are linked to divine creation. The two trees of Valinor, Telperion and Laurelin, shone with holy light, and their last remnants became the Silmarils, the most sacred and contested objects in Tolkien's legendarium. The White Tree of Numenor, descended from Telperion, was a living emblem of that light, and its destruction by Sauron marked Numenor's spiritual downfall. Later, Gondor's White Tree served the same purpose, a sign that the realm still carried the grace of the West. White wasn't just about beauty. It was about an unbroken connection to wisdom, to righteousness, to something greater than the mortal world. This theme carries over into the White Council, the alliance of Middle-earth's wisest figures, created to resist Sauron. Even Gandalf's resurrection as Gandalf the White reinforces the point. White is a mark of true wisdom, power, and responsibility. And at the top of this hierarchy, Saruman the White, the head of the Istari. His title signified that he was supposed to be the purest, the wisest, the leader of the fight against darkness. But as we see, Saruman was never truly worthy of the white he wore. We had the 5 wizards, Saruman, Gandalf, Radagast, and the mysterious 2 blue wizards. Each was assigned a colour when they were sent to Middle-earth. These weren't random choices, as each colour reflected something about their nature and their role. Gandalf the Grey, he was humble, unassuming, a wanderer who dealt with the common folk. Radagast the Brown, a wizard more connected to the natural world than to men or elves. The blue wizards, the ones little is known about, but their name suggests that they ventured far into the unknown lands of the East. And then of course, Saruman the White, the leader, the greatest of them all. White was a symbol of knowledge and authority, and Saruman in his arrogance believed himself to be above all others. But Saruman's problem was pride. He saw himself as superior, truly believed it, and he despised the idea that he was merely a servant of the Valar. Over time, he sought more power, more knowledge, especially knowledge of Sauron and the Rings of Power. And that is where things went wrong. When Gandalf visits Saruman in Orthanc, he finds that Saruman has shed his old title. He is no longer the White. Instead, Saruman reveals his robes of shifting, shimmering colours and proclaims himself Saruman of Many Colours. He dismisses the old meaning of white, saying, "White cloth may be dyed. The white page can be overwritten, and the white light can be broken." But Gandalf isn't impressed. He understands what it means and replies with, "In which case, it is no longer white." This moment is crucial. Saruman is telling us exactly why he abandoned white. because he thinks he's surpassed it. He sees white as just a starting point, something simple and incomplete. In his mind, by breaking it apart into many colours, he has become something greater. But Tolkien is making an important point here. Saruman hasn't improved himself, he's corrupted himself. White contains all colours in harmony. By shattering it into individual colours, Saruman has lost the unity, the purity, and the wisdom that white represents. He's diluted himself, spread himself too thin, like butter over too much bread. And in doing so, he has abandoned the very qualities that once made him great. Gandalf says, "He that breaks a thing to find out what it is has left the path of wisdom." It is a direct condemnation of Saruman's mindset. Saruman's hunger for power and knowledge has led him down a path of destruction. Instead of serving the world, he now seeks to control it. And worse, he believes that in doing so, he's doing something clever. From this point forward, Saruman is no longer the White. He has lost that title in every way that matters. And as we see throughout the story, his many colours don't make him stronger, they make him less than what he once was. He betrays the White Council. He allies with Sauron, believing he can master him, which is honestly a bit laughable. He industrializes Isengard, destroying the land to fuel his war machine. And in the end, he falls so far that he's reduced to ruling over a band of thugs in the Shire and calls himself Sharky. The once mighty White Wizard ends his days as nothing more than a bitter old man ruling over a ruined village. Meanwhile, Gandalf, the wizard Saruman always looked down on, becomes the White in his place. When Gandalf returns as Gandalf the White, he takes on the mantle that Saruman abandoned, and in doing so, he proves that wisdom isn't about hoarding power. It's about humility, service, and standing against evil without seeking to dominate others. And what happens to Saruman? His multicolored visions of power end in complete failure. His staff is broken, his voice loses its magic, and he dies a petty tyrant, stabbed in the back by his own servant. He never achieves the greatness he believed was his destiny, and in the end, he disappears as a grey mist, fading into nothingness. Tolkien leaves us with a clear lesson. Wisdom isn't about breaking things apart, it's about keeping them whole. Saruman thought he was too great for White, but in the end, he wasn't even worthy of it. So, there we have it. Saruman's many colours weren't an upgrade, they were a downgrade. He thought he was evolving, but in reality he was just losing himself. White represented unity, wisdom and purpose, and Saruman in his arrogance thought he could improve upon it, but instead he shattered it. And that is why, in the end, Gandalf the White took his place. Because true wisdom isn't found in pride, ambition or the pursuit of control. It's found in clarity, humility, and the strength to stand for what is right. Saruman broke White to seek power, but in the end, it broke him. Now it is your turn. Do you think there was any moment where Saruman almost turned back from his many colours decision? Was there a moment of regret, or was he too proud to even consider it? Share your thoughts in the comments down below. And along with this, if you would like to support the channel in other ways, please consider our Patreon. You can't always rely on YouTube itself, so this extra support will really help the channel stay strong and keep us getting that content out for you. But with that, thank you for spending just some of your time with me today, and I will see you next time on The Broken Sword.